Aloha, guys. Thank you so much for watching Lucy's Paradise podcast. We are on episode 55 with Dane Neves. How are you?
Hi, good.
Do you want
I'm
to
great. How are you?
Doing great. Do you want to tell us a little bit about you before we get into it?
Yeah, sure. I am originally from Hawaii. I've lived there for 35 years, and I recently just moved to Las Vegas, Nevada. So, first of all, I really appreciate you doing this remotely. I know that you usually like to interview your guests in person, but this is like a real treat. So, I'm really happy that we got to converse remotely here.
Yeah.
Um, my background is filmmaking. I went to film school at University of Hawaii when the Academy for Creative Media was just starting out. This was back in like 2007.
Oh, wow.
And right after that, um, there was an economic recession. I don't know if you remember that, when
Yeah.
just the economy just tanked, and my hopes and dreams were kind of crushed because I wanted to, go to Hollywood and become this big shot movie director, but that just wasn't in the cards. However, it was a blessing in disguise, because right after college I got a job at Olelo Community Media, where I got to learn so much about videography, television production, community, activism, and all that kind of stuff. And it was really eye opening. So I worked at Olelo different jobs for about 14 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
now I live in Las Vegas, and I am the marketing manager for the state's largest children's literacy nonprofit. So that's my career in a nutshell. On the side, I still like to do my own short films, independent projects. I have a YouTube series right now called Lonesome. Lucy here was a guest earlier this year, and it was so great to have her on there. I do a lot of my own personal artistic projects as well.
I love that. Thank you for giving. That's that great like summary. Do you want to talk about like what got you into production? Like, was there like a moment or something, and then you were like, okay, I want to go to school for this?
Yeah. So when I was a little kid growing up in the early 90s, you know, Disney animated cartoons were like the thing, right? Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Lion King, Tarzan. I wanted to be an animator, and because I loved that art so much, but I didn't have the patience to draw. Whenever I was coloring something as a little kid, I always color outside the lines, and so I figured, maybe I don't really want to do this. Maybe I can do something else that's kind of like adjacent to animation. And that's when I started to get into filmmaking in high school. So I started doing all these fun little stupid videos with my friends, just kind of like guerrilla filmmaking. And then finally in college, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a lawyer. I want to just be a filmmaker. So that was kind of my trajectory from there on. Yeah.
Wow. And then what gave you the idea like to get into like puppetry?
So yeah, I do. I also do puppetry, and that's something that I've been doing also since I was a little kid. I loved performing, I loved singing, and just like being an animator where you can animate characters from behind the scenes, being a puppeteer allowed me to physically animate these characters while not necessarily being seen. And I thought that was pretty cool because, just with my hand in my mouth, I can create like so many different characters and so many different worlds. And I have kind of continued that in my career. All of my personal artistic projects involve some kind of a puppet in it.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I haven't really seen any of that here, like in Hawaii.
There's not that much of it. I know there are some children like youth programs. Hawaii Theater for Youth does a lot of puppetry, great puppetry stuff. But yeah, it's not even really anywhere in the world. It's kind of a very niche art where there's a very small community of people doing it.
Hmm. Is there a bigger community in Las Vegas doing it? Just because Las Vegas seems more entertainment based, kind of
Yeah,
like Hollywood in a way.
I would say so. There are a lot of live shows like Cirque du Soleil and a lot of comedy shows that incorporate puppets. My background in it is more of film and television. So I don't necessarily see myself being a Cirque du Soleil puppeteer in front of an audience, but you put me in front of a camera with a puppet and, I'll go to town on that.
Yeah, yeah. Was there like like a specific experience that introduced you to puppetry?
I went to a preschool in Pearl City that for some reason the staff just entertained the kids with puppets a lot. It was like a Christian school,
Oh,
so it was like a lot of Bible stories, and like we had Christmas plays every year, and there were like puppets in that, and I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, I don't want to sing in front of my parents. I want to do one of the puppets, like
yeah,
put me on that
yeah.
job, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you have like 17 years of experience pretty much in the like filmmaking industry. How do you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
like you as a filmmaker like have evolved in that time?
Um, having worked with and interacted with so many different types of people kind of helped me gain fresh perspectives on a lot of things, whether it's, current events, whether it's different kinds of art forms, different kinds of ways to tell a story. I think it's just being exposed to that really helped me a lot. And I kind of attribute that again to working at Olelo, where we had to deal with so many different personalities. Olelo is Oahu's public access television provider. So all of the you can create a show, you can put it on television for free, and it's kind of like giving a soapbox to the voiceless people who may necessarily not have funds to get their voice out on like mainstream media. So that's what
Yeah.
Olelo is there for. And yeah, so again, a lot of our clientele was from all different walks of life, different spectrums, different political views, different cultures, and it was great getting that kind of perspective.
Yeah, that's great. Where do you think you got the idea for like Lonesome and like doing that?
So Lonesome is my YouTube series that I've been doing since the pandemic, when in 2020 everything shut down, people were at home, they were all doing fun TikTok videos and podcasts and stuff, and I was like, you know what, I want to do my own now. So I call the name is Lonesome. That's the name of the ghost. It's a ghost puppet that interviews creators, artists, athletes, all that kind of stuff. And I just named him Lonesome because we were all stuck at home alone, lonesome. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's smart. I like that.
And I'm a huge horror fan too. So I wanted to do something like spooky Halloween, but kind of all year round. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it because he's kind of like a Casper, but he's his own character.
Yeah. So it's not the content, the people that I interview aren't necessarily horror related. It's just that the absurdity of the show is that they're being interviewed by a ghost. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. Dang, what was I gonna ask you about that? Oh yeah, it's really good that like, and I'm trying to think of who else I've talked to recently that's had that same experience where during COVID kind of made them much more creative and artistic than the opposite, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And I guess it probably just stems from everyone being bored and having nothing to do. Um,
I think there is also inspiration by everyone else. If one person starts doing something creative, someone else is like, oh wow, that looks fun, I should try that. And everyone had time to do it too. So everyone's like being exposed to everyone else's creativity, and they all like kind of came together like that during that period.
do you have like anyone that helps you with the videos at all, or is it just all like you just do it all yourself?
It's all myself. I've kind of developed a system where I can just be a one man show kind of thing.
Okay. What is your
Yeah.
least favorite thing about filmmaking? Like, is it editing? Is it
Paperwork. In a professional setting, there's a lot of like insurance, and you have to get talent releases. You got to make sure that everything is documented, everything is archived, and I just want to get to like the fun creative stuff. Like I got to do it anyway because you have to, but
yeah, okay, I see that.
yeah.
Okay, let me see. What do you think are the biggest mistakes brands make when trying to connect with their audience?
It's a very good question. Okay, so earlier this week, um, Southwest Airlines just announced that they're going to do away with free checked bags. I don't know if you heard that, but
Yeah,
it
so
was a
that is true.
huge,
I did hear
yeah, it was
that.
a huge announcement, and everyone was up in arms. Um, and I'm gonna divert a little bit. Do you remember Wendy's and how they had like a really fun Twitter account?
Yeah.
Wendy's is super famous for being really funny, snarky, and like kind of roasting other brands and stuff on their Twitter, and like everyone loves them.
Yeah.
This week, Southwest Airlines tried to do that when they announced their
Uh,
no free check bags on their Instagram,
oh man.
and they try to be funny, snarky, but it just came off as really arrogant. And
Uh-oh.
I think there's a time and place for that, but not when it's at the expense of your customers. And yeah, it's you'll if you just go to their Instagram, you'll see the big blue post that they did, and you can see all the comments there, and it's pretty nasty.
Oh shoot. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. That's interesting. Yeah, it's really hard to like change how you're going to interact with customers when you've already set the precedent of how, like most brands will be professional and just
Yeah,
respond in a professional way.
right.
So Wendy's doing it from the beginning is one thing, but just trying to do that, yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds not a good idea.
And that's actually an actual job. It's it would either be a social media manager or what's called a community manager, whose only job is to like scroll through social media
Mm.
and respond to DMs and comments and like that. And I could tell that that person was not having a good day when they
Oh,
posted that. Yeah.
uh-oh. Interesting. Yeah, I can't wait to look that up. How do you approach rebranding Nevada's largest children's literacy nonprofit?
Thank you for asking that. So, like I said, I'm the marketing manager for Spread the Word Nevada. We provide free books and literacy services to Nevada's children in need.
Oh,
A very
wow.
unfun fact is that Nevada has one of the lowest literacy rates in the nation. About
Oh,
1 in 3 kids are illiterate or they can't
wow.
read up to like the standard.
Right.
They say that once you hit third grade, you should be reading to learn, not learning to read. And here in Nevada, it's at third
Wow.
grade, we have a huge problem there. So our nonprofit's been around for 24 years. We serve 81 schools throughout the state, and we deliver about 70,000 donated books to children across the state. But that's just such a small piece of it. Like there's so many more kids that we could be serving. So
Right.
anytime I do something for our marketing collateral or branding or whatever, I'm always thinking, how does this serve more kids? Right.
Mm,
That's what's always on the top of my head. Like whatever
I
I
love
do,
that.
how do I serve more kids? So you asked, how does rebranding work for us? So when I came on, I actually worked on um, renewing or revamping the company logo, which was about 10 years old when I came on, and the company website, again, about 10 years old. So the rebranding a logo is really, really interesting because I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not going to go on to
Mhm.
Illustrator and try to come up with something or try to piece together things that already exist. We
Yeah.
hired a graphic artist to do that for us. And it's just going through that process was interesting because we have to communicate, who is our audience, what do we want people to instantly feel or think when they see this icon.
Right.
So our new logo is a book opening up, and like floating out of the book is like a child with a graduation hat. um,
Mm,
so
love that.
developing the icon was fun, but also implementing it is still ongoing, and it's been about 2 years so far. So the first thing we did was inform the staff, we're going to be changing our logo. It's going to start popping up on our website, on our social media. We're going to make this big announcement that we're evolving, we're changing, right? So you also have to change the uniforms, change the logo on our trucks and our vehicles, business cards, name tags, collateral, which is like brochures, balloons, pens, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's an ongoing thing, and it's
Right.
super fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be pretty costly, right, for businesses, but really impactful too. Now
Yeah,
you have
absolutely.
like something people can look at and kind of, in a way, kind of understand kind of what your mission is without having to say it. So I like that. That's really interesting. I think
Yeah.
brands should revamp their website pretty often, just to stay relevant.
Yeah, I think the maybe about every 3 to 5 years, the a website should be changed up.
Okay, is that like the
Yeah.
the standard kind of?
No, but I kind of pay attention. Like in doing this, I'm also researching other companies like mine, and I'm kind of seeing trends here. Like, this font style is a little outdated. We don't use sans serif or whatever. Or maybe these colors don't really pop as much as they would have 5 or 6 years ago, So
Mm.
it's the little things that I'm thinking about while I'm researching other people's websites and stuff.
Yeah, I guess too, like things like colors and things become popular in different eras, and then
Yeah,
you can like
yeah,
update things. So that makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
So you have over 40 awards. You want to talk about some of those and kind of like what got you into
Yeah.
like trying to pursue that?
So the awards mostly are for my independent films. The first award I ever received was for my college thesis film. It was called The Monkey Boy Fever. It was a short film about a boy who gets bitten by a monkey the day before his prom. And on the day of
Mm.
his prom, he transforms into a monkey, kind of like a werewolf.
Right.
So
That's cool.
it was so wacky, and it ended up winning an award at the Hawaii International Film Festival. I think it was one of the first awards that the film school at UH actually won, and that was super cool because I was noticing that my films, which again had puppets in them, were so different than everyone else's. Everyone else
Mhm.
was making really serious, kind of like avant-garde or like really culturally based films, and they were
Mm.
excellent. Like, don't get me wrong. And mine was just so different. It was like kind of like a black sheep. And
Right,
winning
right.
that award was just so awesome. Even like seeing your film screen in a movie theater, like an actual movie theater for the first
Right,
time, is like it's like winning the lottery. It's
right.
awesome. And yeah, just after that, I kept on making short independent films. I submitted them to a lot of film festivals. Just like everything else, you got to submit them to film festivals that actually like match your film. So you got a science fiction film, you're not gonna submit it to like I don't know, like
A horror
women or
film.
a horror, yeah, like
Right, right, right.
something like that. So you gotta do your research for that too. And having submitted my films to the correct film festivals got me a lot of recognition for that as well.
Okay, so you were strategic in that and like nice. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how much of my recent stuff you've watched, but because I've talked about it a couple times to some people, but I just did like my first short film.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's
I did
called
not know that. Wow.
Yeah, and it's called Morgan's Corner.
Okay, all
And I
right.
basically, if you know the urban legend, do you know the urban legend I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
basically made like a horror movie version of that. The main female character is Hawaiian,
Uh-huh.
and then I use like my friends are just the actors in it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited about it, but I'm waiting for like
Okay.
one more edit.
Wow.
But yeah, I'd love to show it to you so you can tell me what you think.
Yeah. So when did you start shooting it?
So my friend was visiting here a couple months ago,
Mhm.
and we just had the time and opportunity,
Yeah.
and we planned out like a day, and I just was like, and we just knocked it out in like one day.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And yeah, you know what? I That's so funny. I heard that legend when I was in, I don't know, a senior in high school or something. But I always like, yes, this would be such a great movie. Someone should do this. So thank
Yeah,
you. Thank
yeah.
you for doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always had the idea and like probably in like the last 5 or 6 years.
Mhm.
Um and just there's all it's just kind of how it is when you have like a project like idea, sometimes it just ends up going on the back burner. But
Yeah.
one of my friend, when he visited, you know, he was so inspiring, and he literally was like, what is one thing we could do that like I could help you video wise that like you've wanted to do? And I was like, well, I've had this idea for this short film, and like
Hmm.
I think if we made it like a 10-minute film, we could really knock it out easily, you know? And I told him, I'm like, I can literally like direct all the scenes. I can tell everybody like, and it wasn't very like scripted. So it was very like, I had people just, what's it
Kind
called?
of improv,
Yeah, like
the
improv.
dialogue.
Like I
Yeah.
explained to them what the scene was about, and then they like would improv it. But it's crazy how everybody was like on their acting thing that day. I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
how did I like accidentally pick great acters? Like, what the heck?
But
So it
sometimes
was
it's the director. You know, the director could be really motivating, so it could have been all you. You know.
maybe, but they all did a really great job, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah,
Yeah.
we got it done. And I was like, wow, that was really fun. So that was kind of like my
Cool.
first, probably like my second experience doing something like that, but
Uh-huh.
my first one where I had like maximum control. So I really liked it.
Hmm. Good, good. Morgan's Corner is like a two-person story, right? There's only two characters in that, right?
Yes. Yep.
Are there two characters in your film?
There are more. So I play like an investigator, and I
Oh,
basically
okay.
wake up from a nightmare about Morgan's Corner. And then
Yes.
I'm starting to research it. And as I'm researching, it's playing like in real
Okay.
time. So it's like flashbacking, I guess, to the story. And then
Yeah.
you're seeing like the guy and the girl. So there's those two characters. And then there's a cop in as a character who, you know, tells her to get out of the car at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a cool perspective. It's not very. I mean, you think of Morgan's Corner, the story, and it's just like, yeah, it's just the guy and the girl. But bringing in a detective, right? You play a
Yeah.
detective.
Yeah.
Bringing in that perspective is pretty cool. Like, I'm sure that it's very unique. It's yeah.
Yeah. I think when we were discussing it, we were like, how can we explain a little bit of the story without it feeling super weird? And then I didn't want it to be like narrated over because that would
Yeah,
have
yeah,
not
yeah.
seemed as natural. So it just felt like it meshed together well. So
Cool. Uh,
yeah, and then
are you
yeah,
planning? Sorry, go
no,
ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
no, I was just gonna say like, and I like to make like the first scene and the last scene always the same.
Hmm, hmm.
So like the first scene you in like stuff that I do, like you don't really know what it's about, and then the end you see it again. You're like, oh, okay,
I
that makes
see.
sense
I
now.
see. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Are you gonna send this out to film festivals?
Um. Yeah, I don't really know how to do that. I couldn't like figure it out. But yeah,
Oh,
I'd love to submit it to like Hawaii Film Festival. That would be cool.
yeah. Just go to filmfreeway.com. That's like the major hub for you. You know, you upload your video, you make like a little profile, and then you can send it to whatever film festival you want. They're all like
Oh, okay.
registered in there. Filmfreeway.com. That's the way to go.
Okay. Yeah. 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 I think so. I think so. That would be fun.
Good, good. Yeah, I think that would be a great experience just to have your film play in front of an audience and you being there with your audience, right? That's like I said, that's such a great feeling to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you done any where you like sent it off and then you ended up going there and watching it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that's well, okay, so before film festivals had a little bit more money, they sometimes discounted your room or they like pay for your flight or they give you some kind of perks. Now I
Oh.
feel like it's not so great like that, but it's again, it's
Hmm.
still a good experience to do that. It's a great networking opportunity too because you can meet a lot of people from all over the world and kind of share insights and stories and stuff like that. So yeah, I highly recommend traveling to represent your film like that.
Okay. Where have you gone to do that?
A lot of outer island ones, like Big Island Film Festival, Maui Film Festival. I traveled
Oh.
here to Las Vegas from Hawaii to represent a little bit. I still haven't done an international one yet, but one day, one
That would
day.
be
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, that would be super
yeah.
cool. I didn't even realize the Big Island had a film festival. Like now you're like my wheels are turning because I didn't even think about that.
I don't think they exist anymore. The
Oh, okay, okay.
unfortunate thing about, especially about COVID and all that kind of stuff, a lot of them shut
Mm.
down, and they and once things opened up again, they just didn't. They didn't open up, so that's the unfortunate thing. But
Oh, that's
there's
kind of a
still a
bummer.
lot. There's still a lot to submit to and travel to. Yeah.
Do you have a specific genre that you like to stick to, or?
Traditionally, I've I've done a lot of musicals. So
Oh, I love that.
yeah, so again, musicals with puppets. My most recent musical I did was called Poison Apple. It's the story of Snow White told through the poison apple. So
Oh, I love
yeah, it
that.
was super fun to do, and
The
I
apple's
like
like, no,
stories.
don't bite me.
Yeah, no. So the apple's in love with Snow White, and he ends up being the thing that kills her, right? So like, very tragic,
Interesting.
but also very fun. And I like stories like that where it's like a story that you're familiar with, but it's told through the point of view of someone else. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like Maleficent told through the point of view of the villain. That's I love stories like that.
So what did you think about Wicked? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. Subjectively, it was one of my favorite movies of the year. Objectively, I understand why it did not win like the big Oscar
Yeah.
categories. I absolutely loved Honora and The Substance, and I thought Honora, The Substance, and Wicked I thought were like my favorite, like the greatest of the movies that came out last year. So well deserved for the other two, but Wicked I is fantastic. Yeah.
No, I loved it as a musical. Yeah, The Substance was really good too. I didn't watch that third one that you mentioned.
Honora, yeah, yeah.
Nora. Okay, I didn't watch that one. So I'll have to watch that one and see.
That one's the one that won Best Picture and Best Actress and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That one was really good. Yeah.
Do you watch a lot of those award shows?
Yes. And I am very aware that there is a lot of politics involved with that.
Yeah.
But you know, just dropping all that and just enjoying the moment, just seeing all the celebrity, just having fun is entertaining for me. So yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's fun
Yeah.
to like see the movie and kind of like judge it on your own, and then see what
Mhm.
if it wins awards and stuff.
Yeah. You're secretly kind of rooting for your favorite one and all that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah. You're
stuff.
like,
Yeah.
I knew it the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
So let me see what else I have here. What's been the most fulfilling project you've worked on?
Um, Having done so many puppet related projects and musical related projects, I was approached by Jason Lent. He had his own like advertising business in Hawaii, and
Oh,
he was selected to produce that year's Pele Awards program. So the Pele
oh.
Awards is like the Oscars for Hawaii's advertising industry. It's awarding, you know, all the commercials, radio
Hmm.
spots, magazine ads, all that kind of stuff. So the who's who of Hawaii's advertising is going to be in that room for that award show. And Jason Lent wanted to do a Broadway musical kind of thing for that event. So he called me up and he asked me to write it. I wrote it. I was the main character, which was a puppet in of itself. And we recorded like a cast album of it, and we did auditions and rehearsals, and we actually performed the show that night. And it was such a great experience. Everyone had a lot of fun. I wouldn't say that it was not a perfect show by far,
Hmm.
but with the resources that we had and the time, I thought it was really excellent. I'm super proud of that. And just having to perform that in front of like, you know, the who's who of Hawaii's advertising community was really
Wow.
awesome. So yeah, the Pele Awards in 2017 was I think one of my most proudest achievements in my career so far.
Okay. Do you think it's because you got to play a puppet
That,
secretly?
yep, yeah, that's definitely that. And I actually got a job because of that too. Someone hired
Oh
me to
wow.
perform a skeleton for a 76, you know, the gas station 76,
Mhm.
the commercial for that. So so yeah, right after the show, the producer called me up and said, "Hey, do you think you can play a skeleton in our commercial?" I'm like, "Yeah, I will, of course,
You're like, yeah, I'm dead right now. I'll do
of
anything you
course,
say. Nah,
yes, hello,
that's
yeah."
awesome. That's cool. Yeah, that sounds really fun. The Pele Awards. Are they? Do they still
Yeah.
have that?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Oh,
So I
okay,
think
okay,
that's like every April-ish. Yeah.
okay. And then did they record that at all, or it was only live? Like if you were there and you saw it, that's it?
They did video record it. I have
Oh,
the
cool.
recording on my YouTube channel.
Oh, I'll have to check that one out.
So yeah. So if you, and we have the cast album of it available on iTunes and Spotify. So just search Pelly Awards the musical, and you'll come across it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Do you have any future musicals or performances like that that you want to do, or?
There are some companies here in Las Vegas that I wouldn't mind doing puppetry for television and film. I'm actually contractually obliged not to drop the name of this company, but I was cast for as part of a talent pool for one of the companies that I auditioned for. So
Nice.
unfortunately, like I said, I can't talk about it for NDA reasons, but
Right.
I'm super happy to be involved in that.
But that isn't possibly in your near future, and you are like you do want to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Where do you see storytelling and media production heading in the next 5 or 10 years?
Well, I first want to talk about AI. There are a lot of people that are against that in the creative world, but there are also a lot of great things that AI has done, or like as it's capable of doing. So I don't see AI going away, and I use it for a lot of my work too. It's a great time saver, and it's a great way to kind of focus ideas into something that you need it to do. But yeah, so I think AI is going to be used a lot more in the future, because of the TikTok generation. We are seeing a lot of shorter content because of shorter attention spans and whatnot. I think that's going to continue for a little bit, but I also feel like history repeats itself. But maybe there's going to be a resurgence where people are going to be more interested in longer form content in maybe 5 or 10 years. So it's kind of hard to predict, but it's also something to look forward to. And like everything else I've done in the past 17 years, I'm going to adapt to it, and I'm going to try my best to make great things with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, yeah, things do repeat themselves, so we could have that for a little while and then it switch back.
Right.
Yeah. Like the rediscovery. Rediscovery of movies or something.
Yeah. Well, people are going to get sick of streaming things in their homes and actually want to go out to sit in a theater for 2 hours.
I actually really love sitting in a theater. Are
Likewise,
you like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not afraid to go to a movie by myself, because that's just how I was trained in film school. We're assigned to watch like one movie a day, or not really, but maybe like a lot of movies per week. And sometimes you're just having to watch it all by yourself and, think critically by yourself. So I do go to movies by myself a lot, and I am not ashamed to do that.
Yeah, me neither. I'll definitely do that. I love it because you are like immersed in whatever world that they're showing you. Like for that hour or 2 hours, I can just not think about the outside world. So that's why I like movies. And then if you go by yourself, nobody can eat your snacks.
Exactly. What have you seen recently? What anything good recently?
In the theaters, I actually saw recently Moana 2.
Okay. Yeah.
I saw that, which my coworker's son does the voice for that, for Moni, I think is the character.
Oh,
the one that's like obsessed with the other Moana character, like the main character.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. So now looking back, when she was like, oh yeah, he does the voice for blah, blah, blah. And I was like, which character is that? And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, that's like a main character of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, that's amazing.
Does that person lives in Hawaii? The voice?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really crazy. And then his mom is my coworker, so I was like, that's crazy. And she's like the sweetest lady ever. And I guess he like took her to the premiere or whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, good for you. That's so fun. Such an experience.
I'd be so proud. So proud of my son.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's honestly, that's a dream, being a voice for a character. I would rather do that than even be star in a film. I would much rather be like a voice of a character that like kids are obsessed with.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Keep doing your podcast. the more people listen to your voice, the more they'll recognize it, and then the higher the chances of you getting hired by someone to lend your voice to something else, you know?
Yeah, true. And then the other movie I saw in the theater with another friend of mine that was visiting was The Gladiator 2.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah,
The
that was really
sharks in the Coliseum, right? Yeah.
yeah, that was super cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
was
like
super
I
cool.
think Denzel Washington did such a great job in that. Like
I was
he is
really impressed.
yeah, he is a movie star. You can tell, like, yeah.
I was really impressed by his acting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. I like how his character was a little bisexual too. I thought it was
Right.
funny.
Yeah.
It was very
That's Rome for
likable.
you, right?
It was a
Yeah.
very likable character, but yeah, he did that
Right.
really well.
Hmm.
I think what's funny is I don't think I really like looked up who was really in it. So it felt like a surprise. And then
Okay. Yeah.
that one kid who plays like the bratty prince or whatever, he's been
Yeah.
in a lot of films lately.
Are you talking about
I forget his name. I have to
the
look
one
it
who's going
up.
to be in the Fantastic Four? He's like uh the one, not the, is it the one who has the monkey as a pet, or is it
Yeah,
the
I think
other
so.
one?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
younger one,
Okay.
the younger
The
one.
younger one. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
the brattier one and
Right.
like very
Yeah.
impulsive and
Uh-huh.
that one in
Yeah.
the
Okay.
movie.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've seen like a few things and I've seen him in the movie every time and I'm like, "What? Dude, this guy's killing it right now in Hollywood."
He's got that face. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got that. He's like popular right now. So,
Right.
I guess you got to go with it, right? When you're popular.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um so what advice do you have for some aspiring creatives looking to like break into the industry?
Um well, I don't think there really is an industry to break into. I
Mhm.
think that you can be creative in any job that you are a part of, whether it's, you know, construction or a school or government or like running a gym. You know, there's ways to be creative without actually having that title, like social media manager, graphic designer, or whatnot. And I think the more that you apply yourself, the more that you learn, and the more that you listen to other people, I feel like is the way to go about it and to kind of hone your skills that way. Like I said before, when you listen to other people, even if it's different generations, you get so many more perspectives, and that kind of allows you to think more open. And when you think more open, you can be a lot more creative. You're not bound by your own like limited perspectives. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
I think in a way that's kind of why a lot of stuff was created in the pandemic because instead of being in that hustle and bustle of 9 to 5 or whatever people's
Hmm.
normal schedules were,
Yeah.
they were now able to just like, which they say that's how we should be majority of the time as humans, to where
Yes.
we can
Yes.
create. So like all of this stuff would never exist if we never were, were in that space where we could just,
Just
settle and
open your
come up with
mind.
stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any like tricks or techniques you use to kind of like get into that creative headspace? Or does it just kind of come, does things just come to you?
I don't try to force it. Like I don't say, okay, at 5 o'clock, I'm gonna sit down and write a script. No, I'm not. I don't ever do that. I kind of just it happens in the moment. If I'm at like the grocery store and I have an idea, yeah, I'll write it down on my notes and stuff, and then I'll just kind of let it fester a little bit. But I never try to force a time to be creative.
Right. Okay. So life will like inspire you naturally.
Yeah. And if it
Yep.
was a good idea to begin with, I won't forget it later on.
Ooh, that's a good
Yeah.
one. I like that. Yeah. If you forgot the idea, then you're like, eh.
Yeah. Right.
Have you ever like met somebody and you're like, oh man, they would be a good puppet character?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I feel like even just like hanging out with my friends, like this guy's talking, and I'm like looking, okay, yeah, I can see them with pink fur and like a hat and some glasses. And yeah, this guy's voice would be perfect as a puppet character. Yeah, it
Do,
happens a lot. Yeah.
do you like to people watch?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And it's not in a creepy way. It's just like oh, this guy would be a great character, or this lady is wearing an outfit that I think would look great on in a photo or in a video. Like it's like observing art, I guess.
That was one of my favorite things traveling, was watching the people and like their culture and how they like
Mm,
interact with other people, how they
yeah,
talk, kind
right,
of
right.
their mannerism. I always find that really interesting when I go to
Yeah,
new
yeah.
places. I had a feeling you
Where
were like that.
totally, totally.
What were you gonna ask?
I was gonna say, where have you traveled to recently?
Um, well, I haven't really traveled outside of the U.S. recently. I'm definitely due for an outside of U.S. trip.
Uh-huh.
I do go to like California pretty often because I have family
Okay.
there. My brother lives in
Yeah.
LA.
Okay.
But I've traveled like all around the Mediterranean.
Hmm.
I've been to Mexico.
Okay.
So
Do you have a
yeah,
favorite, aside from California, a favorite destination?
a favorite destination. I like Hawaii and I like Mexico,
Hmm.
and I think it's just because it's like another tropical,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
and that's what I like. So I'll
Yeah.
probably like places like Florida, you know, other tropical like places. Those would probably be places I would travel to that I would enjoy the most.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not crazy about like cold weather. So I've been to Colorado. I did
Oh,
go to Colorado last year,
yeah. So
and
you
that
like the
was
you prefer the humid weather over like a snowy kind of environment. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
to like long-term visit or
Yeah.
long-term stay. Like I wouldn't I'll definitely I'd be down to go and do like a quick snowboarding trip and come
Okay.
back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to like Tahoe and like I like to enjoy that kind of stuff, but that would have to be limited. I couldn't like
Right.
move to a place like that and live.
No. No. No.
I
No.
don't think I
Yeah.
would do good. I think I
Yeah.
just need the
Yeah.
sun. I'm very like sun and ocean
Yeah.
type. So
That makes sense. That makes
yeah,
sense.
that makes
Yeah.
me the happiest. Sun and the ocean, and then my dog's the same way. So
Okay. Okay. Good.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, having moved to Las Vegas, it's a very similar kind of. I mean, we don't get snow, and it's a little hotter during the summer. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I did take a trip back home to Hawaii in October, and I will say I prefer desert heat over tropical humidity. That's the
Ooh,
one thing
okay.
that I'll say, like, I really prefer Vegas weather over Hawaii weather. It does get cold
It's a
here.
different heat. It's a
Yeah,
different heat.
it is a
Yeah.
different heat, yeah, but I don't necessarily, I don't mind the cold. But yeah, it's, I guess, a cold day in Hawaii is better than a cold day in Nevada. Yes.
Right. Right. I
Right.
could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I have one last one for you.
Okay.
If you could give one piece of advice to brands or nonprofits struggling with their messaging, what would it be?
I think I want to go back to what I said, where anything I do for the company that I work for, I have this little slogan that I try to apply to. Like,
Mm,
in our case, it's how does this serve more kids? By coming up with that like one sentence descriptor, that your company is trying to accomplish,
right.
you can align all of your efforts with that, and I think your reach and your impact will be a lot more powerful, right, than if you were just throwing something at the wall and see if it sticks, right? So
Right.
just have that little slogan, that little like theme at the front of your head, and you'll be all good. Yeah.
I like that. That's great. And that's so great that you're doing such like fulfilling work for like kids, you know. That's really awesome.
Yeah, and it's, like they say, you don't work for a nonprofit to get rich, right? You're not going to become a millionaire by doing that. But there are a lot of great things that you can do. There's a lot of flexibility, and yeah, like you said, it's very fulfilling to do that kind of stuff. And it's a great way. Having moved to Las Vegas, like without knowing too many people here, it was a great way for me to kind of assimilate into the community and just kind of learn about it real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's really good advice. Um have you got to meet like any of those kids? Like do you guys do anything like that?
Yeah, so every now
Wow.
and then we have what's called an adoption, where we
Oh.
adopt a new school, and we throw a big party, and that's like the first distribution where we
Oh
bring
wow.
all the books. The kid we hand All the staff hands out the books to the kids. Um,
Oh,
and yeah, it's great. Like I'm there taking photos and videos of all of their reactions and seeing some of like the principals and the teachers' reactions. It's like it's really great. And then after those adoptions, every month the kids get another distribution. So it goes on throughout the whole school year.
that's awesome. Well, that's really great, fulfilling work. I didn't know that about you. That's like really cool that you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to make like your own nonprofit or anything in the future now that you've kind of seen like how it's done or
No, I really like the position that I'm in. I like being the marketing manager, and I'm kind of like a creative director for the company, and I definitely do not want to be the CEO. I do not envy
Mhm.
them, but I respect and admire their work.
Yeah, I like what you said
Yeah.
about having that like slogan. I think more businesses are thinking how can we make more money instead of
Uh-huh.
like how can we develop really loyal customers, which I think
Right.
actually equals more money than just the initial,
Yeah,
because when you have a long-term customer, I feel like it's so much better. So
absolutely.
hopefully
Yeah.
brands can take your advice and
Yeah.
do something good for the world. I know it's definitely sustainability things with businesses is definitely like a huge trend.
Yeah. So yeah, it really matters about who your audience is as well, right? So like
Yeah,
you don't want to say my brand works for every single person in the world and everyone's going to love it. No, absolutely not. You have to
right.
define the ages, the locations, the like maybe political stances of these people. If you narrow it down, then you can make a bigger impact to those people, right?
Right, understanding the data. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so stoked I
absolutely.
got to have you on here.
Yeah, thank you. This was, like I said, I really appreciate you doing this virtually, and I really admire your podcast. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Do you have any plans to come back to Hawaii and we can do one in person?
Oh yeah, we will do one in person. I usually
Okay.
visit Hawaii maybe once a year, so I will definitely let you know.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching Lucy's Paradise podcast. Please like and subscribe to Dane's channel. I'll link everything in the description below. Thanks for watching. Aloha.